What exactly is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a type of money, like digital gold, but it's not controlled by any government or bank. It works on the internet, and you can use it to buy things or send money to people anywhere in the world. So, when did Bitcoin start? In the old days, before Bitcoin, before stablecoins, when criminals made big deals, they didn't use digital money. They used cash. Lots of cash. Imagine suitcases full of US dollars being handed over in secret deals. Then, where did that money go? Straight to Swiss bank accounts? Because Switzerland was famous for banking secrecy. No one could see who owned the money. The bad guys felt safe. In 2008, the US government started investigating UBS, one of Switzerland's largest banks, for helping US citizens hide money to avoid taxes. In February 2009, under pressure from the US, UBS agreed to pay a $780 million fine and handed over details of about 250 American clients. A shocking move, because Swiss banks were famous for strict secrecy laws. Later that year, UBS agreed to turn over details of another 4,450 accounts. This was the moment Swiss banking secrecy started to collapse under US pressure. According to an internet story, Bitcoin was created in 2009 by an anonymous person or a group known as Satoshi Nakamoto. The goal? To create a new kind of money that doesn't rely on banks or governments to control it. Why was Bitcoin created? Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to create something decentralized, a currency that wasn't controlled by anyone, but by the people who use it. With Bitcoin, anyone with an internet connection could send and receive money securely, without needing a middleman like a bank. There will only ever be 21 million BTC in the world. So, who uses Bitcoin? Well, this is a complicated question. Bitcoin is used by all kinds of people around the world. Some people use it for online purchases. Others use it as an investment, hoping its value will go up over time. Some even use it to send money to family members in other countries, without paying high fees or waiting a long time. Also, in countries where the local money loses value quickly, like Venezuela or Zimbabwe, people turn to Bitcoin to protect their savings. It's more stable than their own currency. Some people don't have access to traditional banks or can't use the global SWIFT payment system. Bitcoin lets them send and receive money globally, just with a phone and internet connection. Some users prefer Bitcoin because it offers a level of privacy. Even though transactions are public on the blockchain, your real name isn't attached, only a wallet address. That means you can send or receive money without revealing your identity, unless you link it through an exchange. Also, there are people who use Bitcoin because they don't want governments, banks, or even friends and family knowing how much money they have, or what they do with it. They like that Bitcoin can't be frozen or controlled like a bank account. Some companies accept Bitcoin because it's fast, global, and has low fees. No need to wait 3 to 5 days for a wire transfer or worry about chargebacks. And, let's be real, some people use Bitcoin for shady stuff, like selling things that are banned or restricted, such as drugs, hacked data, or fake IDs. They like that Bitcoin is harder to trace than credit cards or bank transfers. This is also why some governments are trying to regulate it more. When I was very young and innocent, I read an article about a place called the Golden Triangle, where people grew poppy flowers to make opium, a drug that ruins lives and destroys families. Back then, I truly believed. One day, it will all disappear. And the world will be safe from drugs like opium. But now that I'm older, I realize the world doesn't work like that. This is real life, and in real life, when there's something good, there's always a dark side too. When there's light, there's shadow. So what happened after the Golden Triangle stopped growing poppies? Did the problem go away? No, it became even worse. Now, instead of opium, there's fentanyl, a man-made drug created in labs, not fields. It's cheaper, stronger, and more deadly. And it's made in different countries, not just one region. And the Golden Triangle? It's still filled with crime. Even without poppy farms, the area became home to worse things: arms trafficking, scams, cybercrime, human trafficking. The hard truth is, bad people will always exist. If you stop them from doing one crime, they'll just switch to a different one. Why? Because there's always someone trying to make dirty money. So, can Bitcoin help the world in any way? Some people say Bitcoin helps criminals because it's harder to trace. That's true in some cases. But think deeper. What if, instead of spending their dirty money on real-life things that raise prices for all of us, like houses, food, and land, they could only spend it on digital things, like NFTs, virtual art, online items? In a way, the bad money stays trapped in the digital world, instead of flowing into the real world and causing inflation for ordinary people like you and me. It's not a perfect solution. Is it possible that Bitcoin and digital assets can help separate the dirty money from real life? Instead of flowing into the real world and causing inflation, where it can hurt innocent families? Another thing to think of, let's zoom out. Why is the US dollar used all over the world? It's because oil from the Middle East is sold in US dollars. This deal started in the 1970s, after the US made a quiet agreement with Saudi Arabia. Here's how the system worked. The US prints dollars. Then, the US buys products from around the world using those dollars. Other countries take those dollars and use them to buy oil from the Middle East. The rich oil countries then take the dollars and invest in US stocks and assets. Everyone wins, kind of. The US gets to print money, and the world keeps demanding US dollars. Fast forward 50 years, that old oil dollar agreement? It's starting to fade. The world is changing. And guess what? The US is promoting something new. That's right, digital dollars on the blockchain. We mentioned this back in video 1. The US wants to keep its money powerful in a digital future. So instead of using physical dollars, they want people to use stablecoins, digital versions of the dollar that live on the internet. And now comes the interesting part. Donald Trump, after his presidency, started building new relationships in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. He brought in high-tech companies, weapon makers using alien technologies, and future investors, selling them a new version of the American dream. Buy oil and use US paper dollars continuously, and buy oil and maybe use our stablecoin system to settle it. Smart, right? Now, some US states even allow you to buy stocks using stablecoins. It's a slow but clear shift. Now here's the elephant in the room. The US has over $36 trillion in national debt. That's a lot of money. Can they just replace those old debts with stablecoins? Well, technically, stablecoins are still US dollars, just digital. But if the system shifts more and more to digital, it's possible that future debt could be rolled over into a new financial system. It's like changing the game while you're still playing it. I guess this is how Donald Trump will fix the national debt issue and try to reduce inflation. The war between Russia and Ukraine has been going on for over 3 years now. But here's the part that most people don't realize. We're all paying for this war, not just with taxes, but through higher prices, weaker economies, and a shaky stock market. Even if you're not near the battlefield, the war is hitting your wallet every single day. Why? Because wars are expensive. Governments borrow money to pay for it. And who ends up paying that debt? Us. The people. The stock market is heading for a crash. Remember America's special brother, Japan? Japan is raising its interest rates. I'll talk more about this in the next video. We'll dive into how Japan's moves might shake the stock markets.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it, because some stories are meant to be discovered together. And stay curious. I'll see you in the next chapter.